All right, folks, welcome to another edition of Late Night on Campus. I'll be your host again tonight, Donnie Rightside, with my main man, the big man on campus, at Jeff Nadu on Twitter. I got to say, it's just like Christmas Eve right now for me. I mean, you got finally some appetizer games on the card tonight, which we'll review. Illinois, Central Florida, UIC, Coastal Carolina. We'll get to those in just a minute, but it's Sweet 16 Elite 8 weekend. It's finally here, big man. Talk to me how excited you are on this.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm just dripping with excitement. No, Donnie, I mean, listen, I've talked about it before. I'm someone that gets sick of things easily, but yeah, look, it's nice that it's coming. I'm obviously ready for it to be over. I've really entrenched myself in basketball for the last couple of months, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also looking for a little bit of something different. This WBC has given me a little bit of looking forward to baseball and, the weather, always looking forward to summer. So, it's been great. I'm looking forward to it, but, it is coming to an end, which is always something as a sports fan, as a sports bettor, you look forward to, some new things coming up.
Yeah, no, I got to admit, watching this game, even though just give the people out there an update if you're not watching, USA, Puerto Rico 0-0, top of the third, nobody out, nobody on. But I got to admit, like the same type of rush comes back to you when you just watch the game, like a double down the line. And just from a betting perspective, you're already in the next mode. Like if you have the team that got the double, you're looking to push that run across. You're looking for a strikeout if you have the team that's playing, in the field that inning. It's a great run because it's a different type of grind because you're going on for much, much longer, but an easier grind, if that makes any sense, big man.
Yeah, and it always comes up to like you also get mad when 2 outs and you got a guy on second and you can't get a big hit. There's little things, but it kind of just excites you for baseball and it gets you ready to go. And it's nice to see something a little different for a change.
Yeah, on the chat box, we got Guan out there, Joe, Dylan, Vitalis, Hoops 590. We're all back in the show for tonight. Again, we're just gonna run it to see what it is. We'll have some good stuff. A little bit later in the show, we go a little bit offbeat and do a quick buy or sell method. But the show tonight, again, folks, at SBR Sports Picks, SBRodds.com, where you're going to find all your odds that are changing, hour to hour, day to day. It's exactly where you want to go. And also sponsored by uwager.eu. So check them out. They are sponsoring us this evening and throughout March Madness. So a couple of really, good bunch of companies there that are behind us. And again, like I like to say, big man, they're down in Costa Rica. Everybody's off for the night at the bar, relaxing, taking the family out. We're here to do some work.
Yeah, we're here to break it in and, get through some of these games, talk about what would happen, what's going to happen. And, we don't ever stop. This is my my third show today, various different shows, and I never want to stop. I always want to keep getting back on air, Donnie, and I'm happy to have everyone. Again, this is a Monday through Friday thing. We're going to continue to kind of do this every night, recap what went on, kind of look forward to the next day, and it's nice to have all these guys on here watching. So hopefully we can make it a regular thing for everyone as they end their night on a high note with sports.
Yeah, good part about that, big man, is we get to come on each and every night. So there's no, I know we do the right side of campus where we only do 2 shows, just me and you per week on that. So a lot of these things you miss, a couple things here and there. You got to skip a couple days. We have everything right in front of us tonight. We're going to go over the games tomorrow, get to the Sweet 16, give you some leans. I did put out a play on one of the games tomorrow, so I'll abstain from that. I don't know if you have done that yet, big man, but just about everything is on the floor tonight, and a 2-run shot.
Boom.
By Team USA right there.
I'll tell you what, Eric Hosmer's had a hell of a tournament. Or no, who was that? Lucroy? Who was that?
That was Lucroy, 25, right?
Yeah, wow.
Driving Kinsler, was it too?
You got a hold on. It looked like Hosmer from far, but yeah, that's huge. I mean, because Stroman early on looks really good in this game. So, we'll keep you abreast. Big hit there. For our USA boys. Great stuff.
Absolutely. Big man, let's get it. I know you had a play tonight that you gave that you were high on. And the ebb and flow of college basketball, which, again, we were going back and forth on that. Central Illinois opens up as a 3.5-point favorite. Looks like by the time the game closed, it was about 4 points. Not even in a contest for the majority of the game. And then here comes that slippage late in the second half when teams fall asleep at the wheel. And to be honest with you, Jeff, watching that game, Illinois, I think, was down 6 at one point with under a minute to go. A deep 3 ball goes in and out. Could have changed the entire complexion of that finish.
Yeah, I mean, this has kind of been the norm in basketball this year with teams going up 14, 15 at the half and then regressing back to the number, and the team that was down basically making a valiant run and coming back in the game. With Illinois tonight, they really didn't do anything particularly well. 30% from the field, shot 38 threes and only made 12,
Yeah.
only shot 12 free throws, but they didn't turn the ball over, and that was UCF's undoing. The big bugaboo in basketball is turnovers. UCF turned the ball over way too much tonight, but they escaped. And I'll tell you what, one of my big focal points in this game that I told my customers, I do an audio report, guys, for every play I give out premium wise. I send a breakdown through an audio message to my customers. I told them one of my driving forces in this game not only was the crowd, which I commend you for getting some good ticket information. But
Yep.
this was the first sellout in I believe, ever at that building. So for me, I just really kind of like the publicity around this team. Illinois hadn't been good on the road. They haven't been good on the road in some time. And again, coaching played a huge role, I think, in this game. Johnny Dawkins has been the NIT master. He's done a fantastic job winning this tournament twice in his career, back with Stanford. And now they head to New York, and they just look, for the most part, to be a pretty focused team in this game. The spread wasn't in doubt until one or two times late in the game, but free throws were big late, and UCF did a great job closing this game out. So nice win. I get the premium winner, and we were very happy over at my website tonight.
Yeah, that's nice. That's always nice to get the. I know you started out with a tough one there, so 1-1 on the week, but heading into the Sweet 16, and again, we'll get to that just a little bit. Let's wrap up some other minor type basketball action, if you will, that was on the card tonight. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers versus a very athletic UIC team, handled their business tonight, 89-78 in a high-scoring tilt. I believe that line closed at about 4.5. Coastal Carolina not really in doubt too much in the game, but good ball club they got down there.
Yeah, they do. Cliff Ellis is a good coach. He's really a guy that's always going to throw out some interesting defenses at you. Yeah, it closed at 4.5 over at UWager. And, the sucky thing for Illinois Chicago this year, they were a team that I backed early on in the season, right after Dikembe Dixon went out, their best player. When he went out, they were still covering games, but really tailed off towards the end of the season, didn't play particularly well. And I'll tell you what, next year they're going to be a pretty solid team, I'd imagine, bringing back, Gibson and everyone else. But, tonight, look, they just didn't play well enough on the defensive end, give up 89 points. And this has kind of been the story of UIC's season, a definite nice season. But I think next year they'll be a pretty solid team. So look out for them in the Horizon League. But, Chanticleers move on, and that's kind of just what Cliff Ellis's teams do. So, CBI, if you're interested, Chanticleers moving on and playing well.
Yeah, and how about the game that's underway right now, which, looking at this team, never could have thought. Cal State Bakersfield, good on the defensive end, not a very good three-point shooting team at all. Boy, their March run, big man, has been amazing. 52 points the other night in the first half, 45 tonight in the first half on a tough place to play on the road with UT Arlington coming in hot and playing well all year at home. Looking at this game overall, Vegas sets the number at 136 again. They bet it right into the 140s, and it's on pace again to shatter and go over. I don't know, whether the NIT, we saw it night one, which I believe, Jeff, most of the games went under to start this tournament. They're flying over the record pace at this point.
Yeah, no, they are. And shout out to my friend and colleague down at SBR, Zach Jones. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. We always appreciate having you here. Mm-hmm. But look, Donnie, the thing with CSU Bakersfield that's been really astounding to me was, you mentioned it, they have not shot the three ball well this year. They're not a great offense team in general. That's just not what Rod Barnes does. He's an offensive coach. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Donnie, only coach to win not only coach of the year in his group, but he was also player of the year as well in the country. So yeah. I never knew that. But, yeah, you look at CSU Bakersfield in this tournament, in the NIT, 28 for 54 from three. I mean, that's 52% for a team that's not shooting well and hasn't shot well all year. But, getting balanced scoring, Durham coming off the bench is to me, their best player. And, look, UT Arlington they're very inconsistent. They're a team that I was high on last year for a lot of the year, but this year they've been very inconsistent. I mean, they lost in that Sun Belt tournament to a bad Texas State team. Then they crushed BYU and they beat St. Mary's in the beginning of the year, and now they drop an egg in this one. They're getting crushed in this game.
It's amazing.
And it's really been on the defensive end. I'm not looking to step in front of CSU Bakersfield. I'm not sure why people would in general. This is a good basketball team, and it's hard to come back on them just because they're so good on the defensive end.
I mean, it's going good when they just take a running 3-point one-legged shot and it goes down to end the shot clock. 48 points with, 1 minute into the second half. Looks like they're going to have a runaway. I mean, you can't ever doubt, it is college basketball. They are on the road. UT Arlington's a pretty good offensive team, but just from right now, they just taking a stranglehold in the first half. They basically just have to hold on to win this game.
I would, and I want to say one thing. I would love to see them go to New York and do something in this tournament. I've made it a point over the last year or two to really get people's focus on this WAC conference. I think it's a good conference. There's some really good teams and they don't get a lot of love in this conference. You have to understand this conference is positioned odd. I mean, there's a Chicago team, there's teams in Idaho, there's teams all over the place. And this conference has done a really nice job with New Mexico State and Bakersfield and even a Grand Canyon and just really quality teams that we don't get a lot of love to. Bakersfield has done good things for a while, and I'm happy to see it. Starting to come undone a little bit, Donnie here. Another base runner for the U.S. Hopefully they can tack on some runs here. But let's hope Bakersfield can hang on and move on and keep this hot shooting up. Who would have thought?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Just watching this USA game, I think that line closed the total. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. USA and Puerto Rico, 7.5, I think it was the total in this game.
Yep, 7.5 for the most part. U.S. got money all day. It went from, it was 125 at one point. I think it closed around 140. I mean, look, Puerto Rico hasn't lost a game, and they're the underdog here. United States, you're always going to get a lot of action on that side. So
another interesting one also tonight, big man. Looking late. I mean, very surprising to a lot of people. I know even on the chat boxes earlier today when we were on the round table, Utah Valley only getting 3.5 points at Wyoming. Kind of stunning to look at, but if you take a look at here, 17:40 to go in the second half, 41-39 Wyoming. They're right in this one.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they actually didn't play that well in the first half, but Utah Valley, they've been a surprising team. They another team from the WAC, really hadn't played well throughout the year, but they gave some teams some trouble. I was surprised to see this line. I mean, Wyoming is a team that I really only look to back at home. I'm not crazy about laying points to them on the road, but the thing about Utah Valley is they're no stranger to elevation. They're no stranger to tough travel. The thing about Wyoming that you have to understand when you bet on them, Wyoming, it's not like you just go to their airport and you go to the stadium. You have to not only go to the airport, get dropped off in I guess Cheyenne or wherever the airport is, then bus to Laramie, which is in the mountains. So it's not a particularly great a travel schedule. So I mean, Utah Valley's hanging tough here. We'll see if they cover a number, but it is pretty short for a team that's not very good in Utah Valley. Wyoming should be able to seize control and get the job done here, I would hope.
Yeah, and this Utah Valley team, again, only lost by 1 point in 4 overtimes to Cal State Bakersfield in the WAC tournament there. So definitely a team on the come here and playing really well. I mean, who would ever have thought, Jeff, even going on the road to Georgia Southern and smacking them by 25 and then going on the road again, beating a decent Rice squad. So, I mean, anything's possible, but it looks like one of those shocking lines that opens up. And again, I always like to say, most times Las Vegas is correct with some of those lines. We'll see how it plays out down the stretch. But again, a lot of appetizers tonight on the
one group that I saw getting a lot of love on Twitter and other places. Idaho is getting a lot of love tonight in the CIT against Texas State. Texas State obviously won and covered, laying 4.5, closed 131 on the total. And I'm not really sure where the love and why it was coming from Idaho. This Idaho team has been disappointing this year. I thought they were a team that could really contend in the Big Sky. But they lost Perry and Calandrette, one of their better players, and really didn't get much output from anyone else. Texas State's been playing good basketball, a good defense team. I was surprised to see such a short line. I stayed away from it, but did see a lot of love for Idaho. So definitely a bad bet if you took the Vandals in this one.
Yeah, if we get around, I know there's a lot of hoop heads out there, even with NBA. Sixers getting smoked by Oklahoma City out there. Looks like a close game in the fourth quarter with Washington and Atlanta. Denver beating up on Cleveland at the half, 73-59. It looks like a couple games that went final. Chicago over Detroit, Boston over Indiana, and also Charlotte over the Orlando Magic. Any thoughts on any one of those, big man? I know you like the NBA.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of watching the NBA. I really enjoy it, and I do have a system that I use in the NBA that's kind of on a personal level. But yeah, you look at some of these games tonight, and one that would constitute a line move play for me was Public was very heavy on Detroit tonight. Steamed that up to -2 after Bulls opened 1.5. So a big move there. Chicago rolling in that one. So definitely a bad bet there if you had that one. Sixers, another poor bet. They're getting crushed. Sixers have been very good against the spread, but they are a team that's very blowoutable normally. One that I would maybe be looking at tonight, problem is it is the Knicks. The Knicks would be someone that I'd be looking at possibly tonight. Public's very interested in the Jazz in this game. Also, you have to point out the general consensus about the Knicks are no one wants to back them. They're not a team anyone's ever interested in. Plus, this one's on ESPN. I would probably look at the Knicks getting double digits in this game on that sole reason. But no game in the NBA that I was particularly high on tonight. The Knicks would have some interest for me late at 12 in this late one.
See that Nuggets game, big man, 228 as the over-under in that one. That's just it still amazes me when I see numbers that high because it wasn't too far long ago, 5 to 10 years ago in the NBA when you saw like a 198. That was a high, scoring type game, but they have just obliterate those numbers now.
Yeah, an interesting thing about this, I wouldn't be surprised. And again, I'm not surprised that Denver's rolling Cleveland. This Cleveland team is a square bet haven. The people that bet Cleveland, you should have your head examined night after night. I just don't get it. I don't know why you would continue to back Cleveland. I don't know why you continue to back Golden State. These teams don't give a flying fuck about the regular season. And again, bookmakers throw out 3 right out to these squares that bet the NBA, and they eat it up. Cleveland is getting smoked in this game against a poor Denver team. I mean, you give up 73 points in a half. Just pathetic. Pathetic defense from Cleveland. They're going to be in trouble with this defense. This defense is bad. If you're betting Denver, you're not betting Denver in this spot. Shame on you. Cleveland was a square play tonight.
Yeah, if we take a look again, led off the show tonight, big man, talking about it's like Christmas Eve to me. The big boys get back into action on Thursday and Friday. Looking at the SBRodds.com board there. Very competitive. And to be honest with you, just looking at a first look, Jeff, on all 4 games tomorrow, I think the odds makers got it right there.
I mean, these lines are tough. I mean,
they look tight, man. They look really tight.
Yeah, we've talked about it. We talked about it today on the roundtable. We got some really good, info out on that show. But yeah, as far as the games are concerned, there's probably only one game that I'm looking at here as far as that's concerned. But yeah, these lines are tight. I mean, Michigan, I'm not really sure why they're a favorite. I get their, a really good run that they're on, but this Oregon team is not chopped liver. I mean, this is a really good team. Listen, getting a point with Oregon, I don't think is a bad bet. But yeah, these lines are really tight.
Yeah, why don't we get into that Michigan and Oregon game tomorrow, which is going to be one of the early ones that's starting in Kansas City. So not too much of a, advantage for either team with Michigan or Oregon, depending, where they're playing in Kansas City there. It looks like to me, I mean, we talked about it early on the roundtable. The one thing I think Michigan can finally, I always think Michigan has a little bit softer team, more offensive team, the way Beeline sets it up. Fantastic head coach, great coordinator of offense. Wagner's going to be in this game, and he's going to play a huge part. He's not going to have to body up a big man down low like a Caleb Swanigan or even, so impressive going up against Louisville with their big men and handling them and playing very well. I think he's going to be a key factor in this one because we all know Walton's going to go off. They're going to have good play, good guard play up front. But I think down low, I think Michigan, for once, is going to have an advantage over a team, even though Oregon is going to bring the heat, obviously, with their guard play. But just the loss of Boucher, not a true big man down low. I think Michigan has a little bit of an advantage down there.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I get where you're coming from there. Obviously, I think I think the big thing is like people are just saying, well, Boucher's out, so they automatically don't have anyone down low. I mean, they have plenty. I mean, Jordan Bell's a good player. I mean, they have guys that can rebound the basketball and play well down low. And I think Ed Fang made a great point today on the roundtable, pointing out that Moritz Wagner is a very good offensive player, but has the issues at times defending without fouling. Dana Altman, very underrated coach. I think he's a guy that will notice that and maybe try to get him on the bench a little bit early. He does have an issue, like I said, at times with, and Ed called him an excited puppy, which is a great analogy. That's the goal for me. My goal would be to get him out of the game early with fouls. But, Jordan Bell, 2 blocks a game, he's a guy that can handle Mr. Wagner down low. At some point, the fouls will do him in.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking at one, estimated some line projections on a couple sites, picture that game going up to about 1.5, maybe even hitting 2. Public's all Michigan, 63% of the tickets right now.
Yeah, which is something that I would imagine they would be. The public loves stories like this, these feel-good stories. Michigan is a very national program, obviously with their football groups, and they're highly backable for most public bettors. And look, people like this kind of story. You imagine sitting down at the dinner table in Middle America and some woman to her husband, did you see this Michigan team? Wow, quite the return. I mean, they could have died, and you got to play them, or that normal.
Yep,
my mom mentioned this to me. My mom doesn't know shit about sports, and my mother mentioned this to me, and it's like, wow, even she sees this stuff, and she didn't know what the sport the Patriots play. So, yeah, it's the feel-good story. I'm highly interested in Oregon in this spot. I think they had Michigan's reign in this one.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good game. I'm glad that's one of the starting off points for tomorrow, just watching over those games. The other early game, which I'm going to abstain from, and I like a certain side in this one, and I don't know if you have anything that you've given out, but if you want to talk about on West Virginia and Gonzaga, which outside of UCLA, Kentucky, which I'm really looking forward, this has to be, 1A on the board, contrast in styles, going back and forth with each other. Give the people some thoughts out there on the message board, big man, on that game.
Yeah, for anyone that hasn't, has lived under a rock and doesn't know much about me, I've been incredibly high on Gonzaga all year. I think they're going to, go the whole way. But, look, I mean, anyone will tell you this is tough. I mean, it's concerning to face the press, but look, I'm going to abstain from this game just because I've talked about it enough. I think, we had a really good back and forth on the roundtable about this one today. I know you have a premium play on this game, and I'm highly interested in the same side as well. So I'm going to probably take one off from this one, but I will say I have an interest in this one.
Yeah, people on the message board out there chiming in. Thanks again. I see Joel's in here, Mike Campbell's in here, CB's in here, Dan Kelly. Anybody on the message board? I mean, hey, if you got a side in this one that you like, throw some stuff at us there. Throw some stats at us. We'll go back and forth with you, see if we agree or disagree. Just because we have, a play that we want to, tuck aside. We're open to talking about the game any which way direction you want to go. Now, one of the interesting things about this game, big man, that I like to talk about, forget about the X's and O's in this game. Let's talk about playing and where this game is at in San Jose. I mean, West Virginia, across the country, if this was maybe an East Coast game, the fans maybe would travel better. Gonzaga, obviously a West Coast team out there. That Pac-12 mentality, you figure they would have, the time set down a little bit easier on them just being out there. Any thoughts on that, given maybe an advantage to one side?
No, I mean, this Gonzaga fan base travels extremely well. They were in Salt Lake City. They follow this team. Not really. I mean, the one from a game perspective, I don't expect West Virginia to make 8 threes like they did in the game against Notre Dame. Javon Carter had too many open looks. West Virginia is not going to have as easy a time scoring in this game. Gonzaga, we have to remember, is top 20 in not only offensive efficiency but defensive efficiency. They're extremely good around the rim as well. And what I've talked about time and time again is their ability to, when Shemet Karnowski is having issues, particularly against Eric Mika in that BYU game, they didn't go to Zach Collins and Tilly far enough. They have the ability to do that, though, if they need to, which I think is pretty interesting. Not a lot of teams have that at their disposal to use. I just think Gonzaga, the guards are it's not like Nigel Williams-Goss is a guy that hasn't seen a press before. He's played at multiple programs. They have depth as well with Melson and Josh Perkins and Brian Albert. So I'm not really too concerned about the press in this game. The press is a gimmick that if it can be beaten, you're going to score a lot of points on it. So I just don't think West Virginia is good enough in the half court to win this game, and I think that's what they're going to have to do.
Yeah, CC out there says, I'm going under in West Virginia and Gonzaga. Mike Campbell says he likes the under as well. RB12, I like the Zag so far, but nothing else. And then Guan White chimes in. Donnie, how do you do this with a family? I have a 2-year-old. The best part about this is, wife, obviously, full-time job, works hard. God bless her. Beautiful lady. But, the wife and I have a 5-year-old kid. They get tired around 9:30. So, when we chime in on the late night at campus, I'm down in the man cave, watching games and enjoying it. I can scream to my, heart's content down here. Nobody can hear me. So it's nice that we do the show at night. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of stressing on the family because this is a 365 type year job. But, hey, she puts up with me, so thank goodness.
I mean, look, it's not that I'm not attractive enough to find a woman to marry, but I will say this, I'll never get married. I don't want to cement myself and have to do what my wife says. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. And this is a profession that I don't think – Guan, it's not easy to do this, and I can only imagine. I know from a point that when I'm around my parents, like when I go watch a game and they're around, I almost feel weird in a way to get annoyed, and I don't want to, offend anyone or get too loud. So I like being in the comfort of my own home. I can do what I want to do, and I don't have a woman nagging me about, hey, stop watching that Utah Valley Lipscomb game and get in here or something. I can watch it in peace. So it's not easy, but Donnie has a nice woman by his side. She lets him do what he wants. So.
Yeah, hey, and by the way, I was in the same boat in my 20s, single, place to myself. I'm not getting married. I really don't want a kid. So when everybody grows up out there, you'll see what I mean by that.
I make it perfectly known, though, when I have a girl around, I make it perfectly known of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. A lot of the time, either the girl –
It don't matter. They'll always try to change you, big man. They always – I love sports. I love the Eagles. Why do you watch so much football? And
my favorite thing is when I say, like, they'll say to me, like, well, what do you do? And they'll expect me to say, well, I don't know. I work at I'm a mechanic or a dentist.
I'm a hedge fund manager.
And they go, well, so you're a bookie? And I'm like, no.
Isn't that illegal?
Yeah. Isn't, are you going to go to jail? But it's like, you got to find that woman that's okay with it and understands it and,
Yeah. I hear
whatever. But
RB12 on the chat box, big man. Where do you see the future of sports handicapping?
Where do I see the future of sports handicapping going?
Yeah.
I got to be real with you. I think you'll see it. We're seeing its height at this point. I don't think it's going to get any higher than where it is now. I mean, you have handicappers everywhere. Everyone and their mother's a handicapper nowadays. But the difference between, and I equated a lot to poker, and I'll say it like this. I remember for years, everyone was a poker player. Everyone was good at poker. But at the World Series, you'd always see Phil Ivey and Phil Hellmuth and Daniel Negreanu. You always see the same guys.
Yep.
And those are the guys that for 10, 12, 15 years have always been in poker. You always see Doyle Brunson with the cowboy hat. He's been doing it for 50 years. There's a difference between guys that make money and guys that pretend to make money. And I think you'll eventually see people go away. Handicapping, I don't think will go anywhere. There are always going to be people out there trying to make money off handicapping. But, look, I'll say it like this. I don't want to be a tout. I don't like to be a tout. I don't plan to be a tout long term. I do a job, and I expect people to compensate me for that. But the whole I'm going to charge you for this and that, it's not hard to do this. All you got to do is take the time like I do and study like I do. Some people don't have the time, so they pay me to do it. But I think you'll see the highest it goes is right now. I mean, I've never seen handicapping like this, but there's a reason the same people are around year after year.
Yeah, I remember growing up, in the 80s, and every Saturday morning, Friday night, late night, I mean, the infomercials would pop up with 4 guys screaming at you to call 1-900 number and a guaranteed 7-0 weekend, or this is free or that's free, when all they would do. And the one good thing about Twitter is also a bad thing, because anybody can just set up shop and try to take money, and I'm the best handicapper out there. But the one thing they used to be able to do in these sweatshops back then is they just would give you a different game depending on what area code you were calling for.
Right.
If it was, let's just say, the Eagles versus the 49ers in 1988, call us directly, we'll give you the winner. When a 209 area code would come through, they would give San Francisco. When a 215 would come through, they would just give the Eagles.
There's always
calls.
Right.
But you can't. There's so many checks and balances now where nobody can do that anymore, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's and I remember that, back with if you've ever seen Two for the Money with Al Pacino, Matt McConaughey, I mean, that was kind of the you had boiler rooms back in the day where like Donnie said, you would give half the country one side and half the other. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of charlatans still out there that do that. Do you ever bet round robins? No, I don't bet round robins. I don't bet parlays either, really.
Reverses, none of that.
I do bet reverses, but that's a South Philly thing. We've always bet reverses. That's just kind of been in our blood. But yeah, parlays I do to a point. I do nothing more than two-teamer, and I take two favorites at 5 points or less. I parlay them together on the money line. I always try to look for a positive path. I don't bet three-team parlays to get if I bet $100 to get 80 back, and that's a completely idiotic bet, and no one needs to pay for that. Are you guys surprised Arlington's getting blown out? No, not particularly. What I'm surprised about is that Bakersfield's continue to shoot this well. It's something that I didn't think would continue, but they have been.
Well, how about the 20-point game now is 58-47 with UT Arlington on the line. It always comes back to the media.
Oh yeah, it always gonna. And Jimmy Vaccaro says it best. The great bookmaker out at South Point. Most games always regress to the number. They always get back to the original number. And in most cases, we saw it with UCF earlier. That was dead right. Do you guys bet your premium plays? Of course we do. I know Donnie does, and so do I. Premium plays are basically, to me, the best plays on the board. The plays that I'm personally wagering on. Do I have small plays that I bet on my own? Yes. I mean, I have World Cup qualifiers that I wouldn't give out to someone that pays for them. No one pays me for soccer picks. I just enjoy betting them. I have an NBA system that I do. If you want them, I'll gladly give them to you, but they're not shockproof. I don't put my rep on them. My rep, what I do best is college basketball, and that's what I give out. Do you guys do DraftKings? No, I don't do fantasy at all.
I love fantasy football. That's it.
Yeah, I don't even do that. I do fantasy baseball, which I'm in a league, but it's a long-term league. I don't do this everyday stuff. It's just not something that I do. I know people that do it. I'm with all the videos that I do and the content, I really don't have time to sit and study, this and that and all that kind of thing. Do you guys bet NHL playoffs? No. I mean, I'll gladly tail Ian Cameron. I'm not going to say I won't sit down and find a game in the playoffs that I really like, but I wouldn't say I'm viced in hockey. Would you?
No, I mean, I like hockey. Always grew up on hockey. I'm a huge Flyers fan. The only problem with that is when the Flyers, aren't hovering or doing well or not going to make the playoffs, I tend not to watch it, especially I like the NHL playoffs. I think it's probably the best playoffs pound for pound that you could possibly get night in and night out. Just, 6-7 game series. The goalie gets hot. A lot of things can change in that one. I do love it, but I do not bet the NHL. Just haven't had the time to cap it and just really get into it in that respect. And I'm not going to go out there and say, it's very easy. I mean, Jeff, we see it all the time. Like, I probably could just say, hey, I'm a hockey guy. And people would say, hey, I followed you there. Let me buy your picks on that. But there's no use in that. I mean, I'm not a hockey expert, so I'm not even going to try to come off and be one.
You got to find your strengths in this industry. I mean, you don't want to be someone that you just talks about anything. Like, I don't know about hockey. I don't know about horse racing, so I don't act like I know about it. I don't really know about UFC, so I don't pretend to know about it. Big man, do you offer baseball as part of your service? Yes, of course. That's one of the only pro sports that I actually cap on a daily basis. I'll make maybe 3 or 4 NBA plays a week personally, but I don't cap it every day. I don't step on it. It's just kind of something that I enjoy. Do you guys are you guys often on opposite sides of a game?
We do.
Sometimes. I mean, Donnie and I are pretty similar in the way we handicap. I know he's very much about quality over quantity, and that's exactly how I am. The guys that don't win in this business, listen, there are very many that play a lot of games and break even. But consider this. If you bet 10 games, to make money and to make a good amount of money, you need to win 7 of those games.
Yeah.
It's hard to win 1 game. At the most on a day, you'll see me bet 3 games, 4 games. I just don't put a lot of wagers out there. I look to win 17, 18 days out of the month. That's really my goal. And, if I can, I will. I know, Donnie, you're the same way.
Yeah, no, what's funny about that? We say you guys on opposite sides there. I mean, it's quite often that me and Jeff bust balls, back behind the scenes. How many times you send me something where I send you something where you send across, like last week's games with Duke. Hey, man, I love Duke. I'm going to send that out as a premium play, and then I'll just send back. Even if I wasn't taking it, I love South Carolina. I think it's the best play on the board. It just goes right back and forth. I know a lot of you guys out there, I mean, we enjoy each other's company going back and forth, but we never miss a shot to bust balls and be like, hey, I like this game tomorrow, and just shoot something back. I think it's a terrible play. Even if you don't, just get the reaction and the rise is hilarious.
Donnie also will make a point of, we talk about known mushes that we deal with, and he'll mention to me like, hey, so-and-so's on UCF, and I'll go through the roof. Because one thing many don't know about me, and I don't really put it on camera, but I have a pretty short fuse on getting annoyed and pissed off, and ever since I was a kid, I don't like when people bust my balls on purpose. Like, you call me fat, whatever. I don't care about that. But, like, don't knowingly bust my balls and just keep doing it. But, yeah, Donnie will do that once in a while. But, we pretty much cap the same way, though. Low volume, that kind of thing. Can I ask what kind of income you generate from betting? Well, one bad tool. That's a little personal, don't you think? Look, I'll say this. I'm not living on the street.
I'm not living exactly. It's not. I use the same response to that all the time. It's not a lottery ticket. And again, like, just envision yourself punching the clock and doing a 9 to 5. Now, it pays a little bit more than a 9 to 5 because obviously we wouldn't be doing this, just for free and hanging out online because, bills got to be paid, mortgages and rent and all that stuff. But it's not as glamorous as what you would like to see. But when you wake up, it's nice to know that you really like what you do, even though there is a lot of stress involved because you're betting your own money. And more importantly, there's people out there that follow what you say and what you lean on. And some people that come into this business or come in and buy from a sports tout or, get into gambling, a lot of the times they don't understand exactly how to gamble. I can't tell you the amount of times, like, I'll get DMs saying, hey, man, I'm really in a hole. I just started up last week and I'm down like $3 or $4 grand and I almost want to stop. I mean, hey, some people just don't know and say, hey, this was easy. I see people online. If you follow people on Twitter, we win every single night and we're going to go 7-0 tonight, or I got a card tonight you don't want to miss, guaranteed 3-0. And people put a lot of money on there figuring it's a lottery ticket. It's more of a grind getting out there and getting after it.
Yeah, it is. And I look, if someone came to me and they're like, hey, I want to do this, I'd be like, look, I wouldn't, go do something else. I just have the ability to, I'll do content constantly. I don't care when it is. If you want me to talk about something, I will. My goal is to get discovered. I want someone to find me and say, you're doing a really great job. I want you to be the next, like Stanford Steve. Where the hell did he come from? Who the hell is he? He's a guy that worked hard. Somebody saw him and said, this guy's not attractive. He's not good at what he does, but he's funny and people like his company. So they put him on the air. That's my goal. I'm looking to have someone discover me. I don't think there's anyone in this business other than maybe one or two other people that know the stuff that I do. I like to share that with people. And, I found a niche that worked for me. And, I try to, get it where I get it how I live. Plus, I save money. I don't have, like I said, I don't have a wife or kids or anything like that. So for me, it's a lot easier to, I don't flashy. I don't have a ridiculous car or nothing. I just try to make money and get ready for the future.
Yeah, we've been all the same. To one bad tool hits on it there. When you're talking about like coming into the sports industry, we've done the I have the ability now that I can do this full time and like do what I like. And again, it's not I'm not a millionaire. I'm not making six figures off this by any means possible. But coming into this, same thing with Big Man. Big Man had a 9 to 5. You apply your craft, and if you're good enough, you can say goodbye to that 9 to 5. And that's exactly what we've done. You have to love it. You have to be on the grind. You have to be good at it. And you have to know what you're doing. But again, I can't stress it enough. Like, we didn't just one day say, you know what? I'm going to get out of whatever business I'm in, and I'm just going to be a tout and start capping. Like, we've been doing this for years and years and years behind the scenes while working that full-time job. And when you finally get enough where you can say, I can pay the rent, I can pay the mortgage, or I think I can really do this, I'm going to take my shot, that's when you'll know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely – everyone's different on what you need to survive in your life, whatever that is. If everything failed for me and I had to, stop doing this, my family has a business where I could go to my father and say, hey, I want to learn your craft. I want to learn your business. And I'm sure my dad would teach me, but I don't want to do that. I want to go and do my own thing and find something that I like to do. And, look, everyone has their own thing and they have their own amount that they need, but I would highly recommend, making sure you definitely plan it out, have a lot of money to fall back on, maybe have a spouse that's supportive of what you're doing and says to you, hey, go follow and do what you want to do. Give it a year. And if it doesn't work, go do something else. But, I'm constantly thinking, I'm constantly trying to do more things. And, you just need to find ways to make money. Selling picks. People often say, well, if you make so much money betting, why do you sell picks? I'm not getting rich. I'm not rich doing this. My goal is to find two sources of income and ways to make money and get compensated for the work I do. So do you ever see me advertise, Donnie? Ever?
No. All I see is like you're the same way as me, where every once in a while, like I'm on a third-party monitor, so they'll give me the stats and I'll post those. But I know there's a lot of people out there that, hammer all day and send emails out there. When you're good, you'll know where to find the person. If you like what they do, or you hear them on the radio, or you hear them like on podcasts, if they're legit, and especially if they've been around for a while. The guy that pops up overnight with 37 tweets, but he has 16,000 followers, which 15,999 are fake. I mean, you can dime them out. But again, we were all new to Twitter and all new to the game at one time, where you just didn't know, and you said, man, that guy has 45,000 followers. Well, you didn't know at the time that you could buy every single one of those for like, $19.99 or $9. You learn as you go. You just hope you don't get burned right away, because there's a lot of horror stories about, again, people just getting into the game and something's too good to be true, and they just take you for a ride and just churn and burn you. Well, you're the one out $3 to $4 grand, can't pay your rent, can't pay your car that month because one guy promised you the moon.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can be a 5-time felon. You could have did 20 years for attempted murder, get out of jail, get a computer, and say you're a handicapper. You can do literally anything in this business. You could say anything you want. You could do anything you want. You can literally be anyone you want. That's really the truth of it. You're going to have cold streaks. You're going to have weeks on end where you don't win. The big thing is not compounding it, making it way worse.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I remember there was a time, I think back in January, I broke even for the month. I didn't have a good month. There was a tough 3 or 4 week stretch that I had, but I always say to people, I always say it like this to people, Donnie, and I'll say it to you.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened June 14th to June 20th last year?
No, I do not.
That's the point.
Exactly.
In 6 months, this isn't going to mean anything. It's a sixth, and every sport is sport to sport. So with baseball coming up, it's a 6-7 month thing until football starts. It's just about winning more than you lose and staying above water and, just grinding profits. This is not glitzy. And you know what? The last thing I'll say on this, and this is really when I thought about gambling in a different way. I remember I watched Rounders when I was younger, and it's still one of my favorite movies to this day.
Yep.
I remember, and I equate this business a lot to, most people in this business are the Mikes, the guys that are all about fantasy world. They want to go to Las Vegas and win the World Series of Poker, and they put all their money at risk. Then you have the real gamblers like the Knishes of the world that they'll grind out a profit. They earn money to eat, to live right, to have a nice life, and to get by. And that's the difference between winners and losers. And we ultimately see in the end, Mike hit a jackpot and he took a risk, but it could have ended way worse. And I try to be the Knish.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I mean, it's not all glamour. It's not all style. And again, we don't live in Las Vegas, so you do get that enough. Say, why do you sell picks? I mean, it's definitely to supplement the income. But again, we've all been out there. I mean, how many times do you win a couple grand or you win 1,000 or even less than that, and the bookie stiffs you? You got to find another one. Then, 2 weeks go by, you haven't got paid. You're going to meet him somewhere. He's like, meet me in a Denny's parking lot, and you don't even know if you're about to get set up with something or whatever it is. It's a shady business. It's nice that now it's coming into the light where you see more and more on ESPN. They're talking about sports gambling. Sooner or later, sports gambling is going to be nationwide, and that's when you can, make a play down the street. I'm only about 40 miles outside of Atlantic City, so the minute that green light comes on, I'll be able to get down there, and it's going to be legal.
Yeah,
right now it's not.
For Donnie and I, we live. I mean, my family is a shore home, 10 minutes from Atlantic City. During the summer, I'm in Atlantic City every night. It's like my second home. So for me and Donnie, I'll probably move to Atlantic City at that point. Like that would be what I'll do,
Yep.
just because I'm already very familiar with that area anyway. But the last thing I'll say, the one problem that presented to me is, unfortunately, in any business, being older in this business, they want seasoned people. That's why if you go on VSiN, all you see is older people. Guys want stories. They want all that crap. And, you got to kind of shine and try to be more knowledgeable than most people. I could tell you right now, other than the bookmakers at South Point, I'm more knowledgeable than anyone on there. They like older people. They want older stories and things like that. But, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a long way away, but I'm in it for the long haul. And, I'm excited. I hope 20 years from now we're still doing the show, on maybe a bigger level, or even with SBR. I love SBR. They've done a lot for me. They helped me a lot in my career, and I owe a lot to them. So if Zach's still listening, I appreciate Zach. Donnie, you want to wrap it up with some buy or sell tonight?
Yeah, let's do it, man. You started off for us tonight.
All right, I'll do this.
Buy or sell. Go ahead.
Very good. Did Barack Obama illegally wiretap Donald Trump?
I'm going to say sell, because he can't be, on the way. What would have been his motive to do it on the first end anyway, knowing that he can't be president again or whatever it is? I would sell. Now, was somebody keeping an eye on him? Absolutely. But I'll sell that the president said we need to wiretap this guy coming in here.
And by the way, I don't know if anyone knows this, but obviously Trump Tower, there's people that actually live there. From what I understand, there was a Russian organized crime group that was working out of a unit 3 floors above Donald Trump's penthouse. Basically, they were running a high-level sports betting company, a poker.
Maybe that's why he likes sports gambling so much. I like that.
Well, yeah, but it was a proven thing. You can look it up. You basically, poker, illegal, all sorts of stuff. Olympic fixing, all sort of stuff, and that's where the wiretaps, I think, were coming from. If you can Google it and you can look it up, federal agents were doing that back in 2013, 2014. But this is way before the presidential race. But Donald Trump is I won't get into my feelings on him, but let's move on. But yeah, I would sell that as well. I don't think. Why would Barack Obama do that? I mean, why? I mean.
Yeah, I don't think it would have came. I don't think it would have came in from him. What do you got next? Any more of those? I got a couple for you as well.
Yeah, why don't you go with a couple? I didn't even.
All right, let's go. Let's go back to sports on this one.
All right.
Buy or sell, big man. NFL takes out 2 preseason games to add 2 more regular season games.
I would buy that. I mean, I think the general consensus around the NFL is there are too many already. Half the time, 2 of them don't even matter anyway. Most times. Your players don't want to play in them. I mean, let's be real, Donnie. The only ones that I really care about are the second and third one. The fourth one's a joke. No one plays in it. And the first one, it's too early in the season to even play. So, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, how about that, big man? As you know me, I'm a season ticket holder for the Eagles. And my favorite thing, I've had them for over 15 years. The thing that makes me laugh is I don't like to go to I go to every game. So preseason doesn't really matter. My daughter's old enough now I can take her for a half, and, she likes the cheerleaders and, get some cotton candy, and, we have a good time and leave at halftime. But every year it seems like the Eagles will stick you, and they'll have the first home game and the fourth home game, which means I burned a couple $100 per game, and I don't even get to see more than a quarter of the starters in there. That's what eats me up on that end.
I can't say, and I remember when I lived in South Philly, I remember I used to go to literally every game as well. And I remember the only preseason game I ever went to was when Michael Vick's first game with the Eagles against, I believe, Jacksonville. And I would just walk to the stadium. I lived 3 or 4 blocks away. But yeah, preseason's trash. I have no interest in it. Obviously, I'll watch it on TV, but I have no real interest in it otherwise. That's going to be another run for the United States, 3-0 here.
Yeah, by the way, team total on USA, big man, I think was 4, so they're going to close on that. 3.5, even, wow, even better. How about
you guys pay attention to other cappers and have competition? Of course I do. I've constant people bothering me. I have people that are constantly, Donnie, you know that, constantly trying to, and they're not cappers. They're just people that for some reason don't like me. But yeah, you have people that want to do the things you're doing, all sorts of stuff. But I don't have competition. I think I'm the best, and I always try that. But I just try to worry about myself. And I used to feed into that stuff, but not anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that will try to make a name just coming off of like arguments and keep cutting at you there. And if you see me on Twitter, I'm, cordial to everybody there. I like to say I don't have any enemies there online because I would never go after another handicapper because it doesn't matter to me what they do or not. I use Twitter as an avenue to meet people in the sports business industry, share information, get to know, and generally have a good time because that's what I think Twitter's for. You'll never see me come after somebody, MF this, MF that, or this. I mean, very rarely. I mean, I have a lot of people that follow me. I follow a lot of people. Maybe have blocked 1, 2, maybe 3 people in 5 years on Twitter because I just don't have time for it. You'll get the little egg pop up and say, "Hey, man, nice pick last night." Just avoid it. The egg never comes back anyway, so it's no.
Who should we stay away from, Jason? Come on, you really don't think I'm going to answer that on the air? Here's who you should stay away from. You should stay away from people that all you see is winners on their Twitter.
Yeah.
You never see a loser. That's who you should stay away from.
Yep.
The guys that you never have seen a picture of. There's a reason behind that. There's a reason they're not open to who they are. There's a reason.
Or you got to stay away from too, the smoking hot 20-year-old girl who's selling pics online and is crushing it. That's the one you want to stay away from.
Also, and this is nothing against the younger group, and obviously I'm still pretty young, but the hot shot kid that has been on Twitter for a month or two and thinks he knows everything about sports betting, but doesn't sell picks because he doesn't want accountability when he loses. Those are the people that you want to highly avoid because there's a reason that A, you haven't seen them, and B, I think the true people in this business, and that's why touts, they get a bad rep, but to me, I think they're the real people in this business because A, they're not scared to face their losses. You're going to get some bad eggs, but they're the ones that actually believe in their product enough to sell it, and they'll face the music if it loses. But yeah, stay away from people that you've never seen, B, that always win and you never see any losers, that kind of thing. I'm on here every day. You see me win or lose, I'll face you. And that's the big thing about it. You have any more buy or sell?
One more on the NBA, with the hot topic being right now LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers and, San Antonio Spurs sitting guys out.
Yeah.
Buy or sell, drop the season by about 10 games or so, or maybe just down to 75 so these guys don't have any back-to-backs.
Well, yeah, I don't think that would be a big problem. The problem is the TV revenue is where it hurts. I mean, they're expecting games. They're expecting to put stuff on. And, I forget who it was. I heard someone make the case of it wouldn't matter if if Adam Silver says, "Hey, we don't want anybody sitting anymore." Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm LeBron James. My knee hurts. I can't play tonight.
Yeah, it was
easy ways to get around.
Get out of it, exactly.
You're just not going to get around it nowadays. It's the state of this league. I've said before, I think some of the best sports years of my life were early in my life when, the NBA, every team was good. Every team had a good group of players and it was fun to watch. And that's gone now. So you just got to kind of put up with it. That's why I just go to watch the Sixers because every night I know they're going to play hard. And, I don't got to worry about people taking breaks.
By the way, big man, checking out Cal State Bakersfield, 67-61, and the Utah Valley team, 68-67, 2 minutes to go in that ball game. Utah Valley giving Wyoming all they can handle in Wyoming.
And another score early on here, and I don't know how many people listen to me, but Knicks up early, 20-13 on the Utah Jazz. I had a small piece on the Knicks plus 12, which I gave all of you very early in this show. Yeah, look, Texas Arlington. The problem is, Donnie, they're laying points. They're not getting 5.5. They're laying 5.5. So CSU still firmly in control there.
Yeah, back up 8 points now after a flagrant foul. We all love these flagrant fouls. I don't even know what constitutes. Like, if you took it in like football terms, like an illegal hit to the helmet or the neck. I mean, it's pretty evident and clear. This subjectiveness on flagrant, and what is a flagrant? Where you touch somebody in the leg when you're falling down. I mean, it's just odd they're allowed to do that. To me, back in the day, a flagrant foul was I'm going up for a dunk and somebody low bridges me and I land on my head. That was a flagrant.
Yet another game in college basketball where we will eclipse 50 free throws. Just hideous. Nice night tonight for Bakersfield. They've had struggles from the foul line. This might hurt them at some point, but almost 80%, which is really good. So, we're going to have obviously an interesting night tomorrow night with.
Yeah, we're going to be live too during some of those games.
Yeah, so hopefully join in for that. We'll have those games. It's 4 games and that's it. No NIT. Full focus on the Sweet 16 matchups. Friday, there's games as well. No, is it Saturday, Friday, or Saturday? What day is it?
Both. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Both for
right.
the.
What am I saying?
Tournament. What's going to be interesting about that too, big man? Tomorrow, that late night game, Xavier in Arizona. Depending on what time the earlier ones get over, that's a 10:09 start. So we might even be able to come on and probably break that game down before it even starts and throw in a live wager, see if anybody wants to tell us.
And I'm also really not trying to offend you, but I want all of you to stop what you're doing and look at the camera right now.
I'm in.
If you are still betting the Cavaliers at this point, you need to stop. Stop betting the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're not going to win with them in the regular season. Stop doing it. I don't care how good it looks. If you do it, you're a square, and you should not be trusted to give out information. Don't talk about the Cavs, the Warriors, the Spurs, the Rockets. Just wait. Wait till the playoffs.
I hear you on that. Well, that's just about all the time that we have tonight on the show. At sbrsportsbook.com, give them a follow. sbrodds.com for everything that you need, as well as uwager.eu sponsor the show. Big man, you want to leave the people with any knowledge out there?
BMOC, do I put the house on Gonzaga? No, you don't. No. You should never put the house on anything. That's a bad question there, Donald. Don't do that. Don't put the house on anything. Stick to one unit. USA scores another one, 4-0. It's really starting to look good for the U.S. here. Hopefully they can hang on. USA.
US&A. All right, we'll be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. again. Games are going to be starting in the Sweet 16. I do have a premium play on the West Virginia Gonzaga game, so hopefully I have my cash in hand. It's going to be a celebration when we get on the air, or it's going to be a funeral, but we'll check you out tomorrow. Late night on campus, back 10 Eastern Standard Time, right side of campus, 12:30 on Friday. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, real quick, I will be on the air tomorrow as well with Natalie Rodsham, Martin Green, and all those guys. We'll be talking about Sunday World Cup. I will actually be, after the show, be sending out too early, Donnie, tomorrow morning. Before you even wake up, money can be in your account. I'm going to tell you how. Too early Asia and European qualifiers. Should I give them out on the show quickly or wait?
Go give them out right now. I'm writing it down myself.
I want you guys to write these down. These are games that I'm personally going to be wagering on. 8 o'clock a.m. I'm on Saudi Arabia, -107 against Thailand. I'm also at 8:30 on the Uzbekistan side, -101 against Syria. 2 Asian World Cup games that I'm on. Jump on them. They're at 8 a.m. You can have some money in your account before you wake up if you're on the West Coast. So they're going to be my first 2, but I will be on live tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, with the beautiful Natalie Rodsham and the rest of the cronies over at the Bankroll. We'll be talking World Cup. So everyone have a great night. Appreciate you all listening. Let's go USA. Let's close this out.
Yep. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's the big man on campus, late night on campus tomorrow. Let's get after it. Have a good night, fellas.